Hello everyone. So we have seen how we can add a new staff into our database using insert endpoint, and how we can delete an existing staff using our staff ID from the database table. So basically we have seen both of these things. So now let's see how we can update an existing staff using in the database. For now, even though we update it in the list. So here we have that endpoint, right? What we were normally doing is we use that update endpoint and we pass a staff object as our request body, and that object is being updated using the staff ID, right? Isn't it? So what we do is in the staff service we call the update staff method. Let me go there, and in the update staff method we take the staff, and from this staffs list we just take each and every staff and we check whose staff ID is matching this staff ID, the staff's object staff ID. And when we find this particular staff responsible staff using this ID, we update their name and age from this from the value we are getting as a parameter, right? So that is how we do it. So if I go to Postman, this update method, that is the put method, what we do is I call the update method and I pass some data. Okay, what they do is they take this, we check the staff ID and we find the ID and we update the incoming name and age regardless of what was already existing for the staff ID. So in other words, for the particular staff ID we are changing the name and age, or either name and age or both. Okay, so this scenario how we can do in the database is I will go first here and I will simply comment out this existing one, because this is updating the list instead of the database. I will comment this out first, and what I will do is for this scenario I can use the same save method from the repository. Why? Because if I call the staff, because if I try to insert a data in using the save method, we did it in the add staff method, right? In the line number 39 it was inserting a data, right? So while inserting it inbuilt in the inbuilt implementation, what it does is it will check the primary key. Okay, if the primary key is not, that means our staff ID, right? It is not there, it will create a new record and add the record in the table. If the primary key is already there, for example you are sending the key staff ID as 10, and if the 10 has a record already, what it will does is, this save method does is, it will update the other field of the particular record. Okay, so basically the same scenario is our update scenario, right? So basically when you call the same method, it will either insert or update depending on the data. So if the database key is already existing, it will update. If it is not existing, it will simply create a new record. Okay, so here we are creating the record. Here in the update scenario we are going to send a staff ID that is already existing, so we will call the same method where we know it is going to update the existing data. Okay, so what I will do is I will say staff repository dot save, and I will pass the staff, and I know I'm going to pass an existing staff ID, existing staff with the I'm going to pass a staff with an existing ID, and I know it is going to update the data. Okay, so it is that simple. You don't need a separate method. Okay, so I will store it, and you know this update staff method is being called inside our controller, where new staff object is coming, where a staff object is coming with the update URL endpoint. Okay, so first what I will do is I will simply up and run this, simply build the application first. That is being built now. So as soon as it is being built, I will run it. So now it is being built. Let me see. Okay, it's successfully built. Now I will run the application and see whether it can be running. Yeah, so it is up and running now. Okay, and now it is up and running. So what I will do is I will go to my database and check what is the data I have now. So I have one data already existing, staff ID 3338, name Anne, and age 28. What I will do is I will try to update it. Okay, what I will do is for the same staff ID I will give a new name and age. Okay, so first I will go to my update endpoint, that is here, and I will use the same staff ID 3338. I will change the name as, let's say, Robert. I will give a new name Robert, and let's say age 30. So okay, this is the update endpoint with the same staff ID of existing ID and a new name Robert and age 30. What is the existing one? Staff ID same 3338, name Anne and age 28, right? So now what I'm going to do is calling the update endpoint with the same staff ID with a different age and different name. And I know when I call the repository.save method, it is going to come and check, okay, this staff ID is existing. It is going to update the other fields. If it is not existing, it will add it as a new record, right? That is its functionality. So what I will do is I'm calling this update endpoint in my controller and with the new name and the new age for the same staff ID. So now the Anne is supposed to be changing to the new age and new name, right? So I will hit the endpoint and it is 200 success. I'll come to my database. I will implement the query now and see what happens. So you can see staff ID is still same and the age is now 30 and staff name is Robert. It has been updated, right? You see Robert 33838 and age 30. So for your clarity, what I will do is I will insert a new data using post method with the new ID and I will update it. Okay, so I will add 3339 with the new name, let's say John, and let's say age 25 first. Okay, so I'm inserting the data now using the insert endpoint and I will update it later. I have inserted it, so 200 is fine. So there's my database. So you see we have John age 25 with the ID 3339. So now what I will do is with the same ID I'm going to change the name and the age. Okay, so I will go to my Postman and now I will move to the put endpoint, update endpoint, and I will change the ID to the 3339. That is John's ID. Is that correct? Yeah, 3339. And I will change the name from John to, let's say, Mary. And I'll put the age from 25 to, let's say, 29. Okay, not 3029 but 29. Okay, now I'm going to update this particular ID with to Mary and age 29. So I will hit it 200. Okay, I'll go to my database and I will run this query and see now 3339 is now not John, it is Mary and age 29. Okay guys, so now we are successfully able to update the database using our endpoint. So now we can do let's say we can insert a new data, we can delete an existing data, and we can even update the data. I'll catch you up in the next video, guys.